Hello friends, this video on fractions and decimals part 17 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So let us now talk about how the presence of decimal numbers helped. So even before we talk that, let us talk about digits and their places in numbers. Now when we talk about numbers, now on the screen you see a number. What is this number? How will you read this number? It is 3481. Right? So why is it 3481? Because each of these digits, now so 3481 together is a number, but each of these 1, 8, 4 and 3, these are the digits of the number that make the number. So multiple digits together make a number. Okay, so why do we call it 3481? Because each of these digits are placed at certain positions. So they are sitting at specific places, and that is why now some of them are sitting in the ones place, someone is sitting on the tens place, someone is sitting on the hundreds and thousands place. And that is why they are named accordingly. So when I ask you to expand these numbers, how will you expand this number? So you see 3 is sitting in the thousands place. So what do we mean by sitting in the thousands place? That means the value of 3 is not 3, but the value of 3 is 3 into 1000. 4 is sitting in the hundreds place. That means the value of 4 is not 4, but it is 4 into 100. Similarly, 8 as a digit. 8 in itself is a digit, but since 8 is sitting in the tens place, therefore the value of 8 is 8 into 10. This 1 is sitting in the ones place, so the value of 1 is 1 into 1. And when you add all of these, you get the number. So 3 into 1000 is 3000, plus 4 into 100 is 400, plus 8 into 10 is 80, plus 1 into 1 is 1. And when you add all of these, you get 3481. So this is how numbers are formed. So numbers are formed by digits. Now digits are placed at certain positions, and each position has its own value. Right, so here we see that you start with the ones position, and as you move on towards the higher position, so you start with 1, and as you move on to the higher position, you move to 10. So what you do, you multiply it by 10, so you get the tens position. Then comes the hundreds position, so now you multiply the 10 again by a 10, so you get 100. Again you multiply the 100 by a 10, so you get 1000. Then you multiply the 1000 by a 10 and you get 10,000, and this process continues. So what happens as you move towards bigger and bigger numbers? What you do, you start from 1 and you continue to multiply by 10. So this is how we represent numbers. In fact, we can represent any big number we want to. All we need to do is we need to just place the digits in the right positions. Right? So this is how the building block of numbers works. So this ones place, these are also given name. This is called the ones place, this is called the tens place, this is called the hundreds place, this is called the thousands place, this is called the 10,000s place, and so on. Now, so here what do we see? We see that the beginning is 1. So with this building block, we can represent any number that is equal to or greater than 1. So right now I am talking only about the positive numbers. Okay. Now what if we encounter a number which is less than 1? So in the previous slide, we saw that all the proper fractions and many improper fractions, they cannot be represented by this method. For example, let's take examples of the proper fraction, 1 by 3. So 1 by 3 is less than 1. But how do we represent that 1 by 3 using this building block? We can't, because in this building block, the building block starts with 1. So it doesn't accommodate anything that is less than 1. So how do we accommodate things which are less than 1? Now, if to accommodate things which are greater than 1, we are multiplying by 10, and that is how we are building the positions, right? Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. How have we made these positions? Just by multiplying by 10 at every step. So similarly, if we are looking for accommodating those numbers which are less than 1, then why not let us start dividing by 1. So if we divide by 10, what will happen? The value will gradually reduce. So whenever you multiply a number, let's say you have a number 3. You multiply 3 by 10, you get 30. You divide 3 by 10, what do you get? You get a value which is less than 1. So whenever you divide by 10, you are going to get a value which is less than that number, right? So once you start dividing by 10, again you start with 1. So in the next step, what will happen? You will divide 1 by 10. In the further next step, you will divide by 100. In the next step, you will divide by 1000. Again in the next step, you will divide by 10,000 and so on. And what is happening in that means right now, till now you only had positions on this side towards the left hand side. But now you will also have positions running towards this side. So what is this called? This 1 by 10 is called the 10th place. Now please understand the difference. This is 10th place and this is 10th place. This is 100th place. This is 1000th place. And so on. So this is how, with this, we can actually accommodate the numbers which are lesser than 1. So now we will see that how putting this tenths, hundreds and thousands places into picture, how is it going to help us? So here we are going to talk about the decimal point. Now you would have seen that all the decimal numbers, they have a point. In fact, that is how we recognize decimal numbers. So why do we have this decimal point? Okay, so let's say right now we have this positions. So this is 1. So towards the left side of ones, we have the bigger places, that is tens, hundreds. And towards the right side, we have the smaller places, that is tenths, hundreds. So this is 1, and this place, it is multiplied by 10. This place, it is multiplied by 100. At this place, it is divided by 10. At this place, it is divided by 100 and so on. Now, it can proceed in both the ways. Now, let us say that I write a number like this. Let's say a number is written like this. That is 2 is in the hundreds place, 4 is in the tens place, 5 is in the ones place, 1 is in the tenths place and 6 is in the hundreds place. So how will you read this number out? So you have 2, 4, 5, 1, 6. These are the digits which are placed in these positions. So how will you read out this number? Now many of you might say that this is how we will read out the number. So the number will be read as 24516, because normally you would have seen in the previous slide also, we do not write which is 100, which is 10. So we just read out the number, right? So in the previous slide also we saw a number. So here also we are seeing a number. How will you read this number? If I write it as it is, you will definitely read it as 24,516. So this is how you are going to read this number if I write it as it is. But do you think that this is what I am trying to tell about this number? So with this name, this means that 2 is in the thousands place, right? Basically 2 is in the 10,000s place. 4 is in the thousands place, 5 is in the hundreds place, 1 in the tens place and 6 is at the ones place. But in reality, is that the case? We do not have a thousands place or a 10,000s place. So where is the confusion? So how will we differentiate this number from this number which we are trying to say? So in order to solve this problem, because you understood the problem, right? So if I write this number also like this and this number also like this, there is no difference between the two. How will I understand if I am talking about 245 or I am talking about 24,500 something? How do I know that? So that is why was introduced the decimal point. So where do we put the decimal point? So we always put a decimal point to separate the whole number part and the fractional part. So the decimal point is put here. Now instead of writing like this, if I write it as 245.16, so this decimal point acts as a separator. So this means that this side is representing a whole number and this side is representing the fractional part. So that is the purpose of the decimal point, because it acts as the separator. If you remove the decimal point, that number will no more be a decimal number. It will actually mean some other number. So in this case, it means 245.16. And in this case, it means 24,516. So do you think both are same? There is a huge difference between the two, right? Now, if I ask you to expand this number, how will you expand? So here, just towards the left side of the decimal point is your ones place, right? So you will write it as 2 into 100 plus 4 into 10 plus 5 into 1 plus 1 into 1 by 10 plus 6 into 1 by 100. So this is how you will expand the number. And if you actually find out the values, you will see that 2 into 100 is 200 plus 4 into 10 is 40 plus 5 into 1 is 5. So this is 245, which is the whole number part. And this portion, which is 1 by 10 plus 6 by 100, this is the fractional part. And in between these two, we have the separator, that is the decimal point. So this is the necessity of having the decimal point. That is why we have a decimal point. So it is very important. Now when we learn about decimal numbers, we learn addition of decimal numbers, subtraction, multiplication, division. So everywhere, you are not going to learn anything new. You are still going to add the way you used to add whole numbers. You are still going to multiply the way you used to multiply whole numbers. The only difference is that in this case, you will learn where to put the decimal point, because the decimal point is the most critical thing in decimal numbers. Now, with this introduction of decimal numbers, all our problems are solved. Now, whenever you have any such fraction, for example, 1 by 3, for example, 1 by 4, for example, 1 by 5. How do you represent them? 1 by 5 can be represented as 0.2. 1 by 4 can be represented as 0.25 and so on. So in this fashion, all the fractional numbers can be represented as values, and these values are in the form of decimal numbers. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com for free quality education. You can learn with a simple 4-step learning process wherein you can watch video lessons, you can ask your questions, you can refer notes, and you can take a free online test. We have content for class 6 to 12 on physics, chemistry, mathematics, and biology along with practical videos. So please subscribe to our channel for daily updates. Thank you.